Heads up, 20 ups. It was great seeing everybody's videos last week, and I have comments. Yay! So apparently I missed out on the whole let's talk about driving last week. But that's what happens when you're in the start of the week. Sometimes you don't catch on as to what is being said until the end. So I'm addressing it now. Unlike most of you, I actually really enjoy driving. I spent 2 weeks this past summer taking a road trip all by myself up the East Coast and really kind of enjoyed my 8 hours of driving, and I try really hard not to use a GPS. I did take maps and doing things old school. This past weekend there was the supermoon. The moon was closest in it was closest to the Earth that it'll be for another like 12 years or something. And I was out by myself and decided that I was just going to drive for 2.5 hours to figure out, well, I didn't decide I was going to drive for 2.5 hours, but I decided I was going to drive and see if I could find some place away from light pollution where I could just sit and look up at the stars and the moon. Kind of failed at finding a spot since I live near DC, but I had a lot of fun just driving aimlessly, not knowing where I was going and trying to find the least traveled roads possible. And then getting back home without turning on a GPS or pulling out a map was awesome. So I can thank my dad for giving me a really pretty decent sense of direction. But I really like driving and I like finding my way places. But I've noticed that when other people are in the car with me, I always get super stressed out because I know that if they were to let me do my own thing, I could get us back to where where we're supposed to be if I've gotten lost, which does happen. I have enough confidence in myself that I can get back, but frequently people that I'm driving with don't have that confidence, or they think that we should go one way, and so I second guess myself, which ends up getting us totally more lost. I think that's why I like driving on my own, because it just turns into an adventure. It's like, okay, I made a wrong turn somewhere, let's find our way back. And yeah, so I just wanted to address that real fast because I do feel differently about that than a lot of people, than pretty much everyone else on the channel, and a lot of people in general I know don't like driving, but I've always really enjoyed it, and giving people rides, places, I don't know, it's something I like. I guess the big question this week then has to do with childhood memories, and what your favorite one is, and going kind of with the theme of night sky. My dad, when we were kids, I live near Charlottesville, but out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and Charlottesville in Virginia, where UVA is. So we lived kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and behind our house was a horse farm. Essentially, that's what we called it. I mean, essentially, people paid to have their horses stay there, housed there. They'd ride them, exercise them, train them, so on and so forth. But whenever there'd be a meteor shower, my dad would come into each of our rooms and he'd wake us all up, and we'd all get bundled up, we'd take a blanket out, and we'd go and lie in the fields on the horse farm and stare up at the sky, that's the word, stare up at the sky and watch the meteor showers, which is always a lot of fun. So aside from going out into the fields of the horse farm and staring up at the night sky, I guess most of my favorite childhood memories involve things that my family did. Either we did lots of camping as kids. My dad would take us out of school, or my parents would take us out of school one day in October, and we'd all go to Busch Gardens together. So we'd skip school to go to the amusement park when there were no lines. And that's something that my friends and I still try and do, going to the Busch Gardens when there aren't any lines. It's kind of crazy, but a lot of fun. And you miss school to go have fun. Nothing wrong with that. But I guess one of the biggest things that I've noticed other people seem to enjoy about my family, and I guess that's what rather than talking about childhood memories, which I guess is what we're supposed to be, or what the question was, I found that when I was thinking about it, it turned into a lot of reminiscing about my family, and because we did a lot of things as a family as kids. But so our friends who would come over and have dinner with us frequently commented on dinner at our house, because dinner at our house is pretty crazy. I have 3 younger siblings, so there are 6 of us, and we're all very opinionated, and there's always conversation at dinner, and we always sat down every night for dinner together as a family, and our conversations would range from everything very deep and philosophical and theological and political to my brother announcing, "This is the new greatest technological invention that I've just discovered on the internet." It came to a point at one point, we were kids, where he was saying, "So guess what I read on the internet?" So much that he was only allowed to say one thing that he found on the internet if he could then tell us two things that he had read elsewhere from more reputable sources, because he would frequently announce things that he saw online as being blatant truth, or this technological advance can do this, is in existence, as opposed to in development or a theory or an idea. But so consequently, dinners can be very crazy. There's lots of laughing, lots and lots of laughing, lots of chatting on each other and kind of going crazy. And we've had multiple friends who comment to us and to our parents about how much they love having dinner at our house, because it's not just people eating silently and then going off. It's everybody is sitting there and laughing and enjoying time together, and then we just keep sitting there until we're like, I guess we should probably start clearing the table now. And that's a lot of fun. So I don't really have a whole lot to say to everybody individually this week. I've enjoyed seeing everybody's videos. I think everybody else has touched on what I wanted to say. So I'm not really going to reiterate that, but I look forward to seeing everybody's videos this week and learning more about you through your childhood experiences, your family experiences. And I hope you all have a fabulous week. I will see you next Tuesday.